Let's bring in Bucky Brooks to discuss some of the draft prospects for Dallas. A lot of people had wide receiver as a need for Dallas before this. Bucky, is it even more of a need now?
I mean, it's a huge need. I think the difference was before the move to release Dez Bryant, the need was more of a complementary guy on the outside, someone that could complement Dez Bryant, someone that could eventually take over, but not in the immediate future. Now the pressure is on the Dallas Cowboys to find someone who can be a number one receiver. And I get it. I've been one of Dez's harshest critics in terms of his route running ability, his inability to separate over the last year or two. But he was the number one receiver in Dallas. He was a consistent playmaking threat down in the red zone, and he did command coverage when he was on his game. What you're asking now is a rookie to come in and to be the focal point of a passing game with a lot of new pieces. You got a quarterback that is making a shift to playing in an offense that's supposed to be built around him. You have Allen Hurns coming in trying to learn a new system. You have Ryan Switzer and Cole Beasley playing their complementary roles as slot guys, but what you don't have is an anchor. Whoever they try and find in the draft, this guy has to be the anchor of the passing game. It's tough because this year, of all years, there's not a clear abundance of number one receivers in the draft class.
Yesterday, Bucky, on Up to the Minute, our GM, Charlie Casserly, threw out the name of Calvin Ridley. We saw Jason Garrett visiting Courtland Sutton. Is there that number one guy that can make it work with the group that they have? Is that guy even in this draft?
Of the two guys that you mentioned, I would say that Calvin Ridley is a number one receiver. I think Calvin Ridley has the potential to be a really, really good player in the National Football League because he's an outstanding route runner. And we have seen with young players that have success, most of them are very, very polished route runners. But even in saying that I like Calvin Ridley as an option, man, that's a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations to heap on a young player coming into the league to be that guy. And so it's tough. I did see the workout with Jason Garrett, spent a lot of time with Courtland Sutton. The thing that Courtland Sutton offers is he's a big body playmaker. He has the ability to expand the strike zone. The problem that you have with him, can he separate from coverage? Is he going to be able to get away from sticky man-to-man? Can he handle the physical tactics that some of the teams will employ on those guys on the outside to consistently put the ball in the paint? It is going to be tough for anybody to step in and to fill Dez Bryant's shoes, particularly the Dez Bryant that dominated from 2012 to 2014. But the Cowboys have forced themselves to go into the draft knowing that everyone knows they need a receiver and they know that they have to find a receiver. That makes it tough because anybody who was interested in one of those guys, they know now that they have to get in front of Dallas to make it happen.
And also another thing that makes it tough, Bucky, they're at 19. Is the value just going to be so much higher at other positions by the time we get down to 19?
I think here's the thing. I don't know how many first-round receivers are truly graded in this draft class. I would say that Calvin Ridley strikes me as one. There's some people that believe DJ Moore could be the number one receiver prospect at the position. Maybe two guys that maybe you can pencil in as first-round talents. For the Dallas Cowboys sitting at 19, I would say the value would probably be right around there for the wide receiver. But now that you've tipped your hand and everyone knows that you have to go and get a wide receiver, now you might have to move up just to make sure that you're able to get the guy that you target. It's not the ideal way to approach the draft, letting everyone know exactly what your intentions are, but that's where we're at with the Dallas Cowboys. They have to figure out a way to get a dominant receiver that can not only come in and make plays, but he has to anchor the attack. That's a lot of pressure on a rookie receiver.